Shalom. First of all, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Salakia, it's just right quick. It's rather early in the morning. I got a short commute to the plantation, and I just wanted to speak on, just right quick, your patience and your faith. You know, I won't get many scriptures beside the one that I have pulled up right now, which is Revelation 3:10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." And what I want to speak on is that patience, you know, and understand what you're going through today, what you've been going through in this truth, you know, what you're going through now. And there's certain other things you'll probably go through in the near future, you know, all the things that we're going through, especially the hopefully elect, we're going through certain trials and tribulations, you know. We all have our own hell, you know, and these things are to prepare us for the days that are to come, that Jacob's trouble, you know, and the hour of temptation. Because when these times come, we got to know how to maneuver. We got to know, you know, ultimately we got to know how to keep our faith and endure. You know, that's why the scriptures say, "My son, if thou," this is Sirach chapter 2, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." You know, and set thy heart aright and constantly endure. You know, you can read that in the book of Sirach, and I mean, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. And this is what we've been having to do, you know, and what we're going to have to do. You know, those of us that are serving the Lord right now in sincerity and in truth, you know, we're doing our best to walk that straight and narrow path, you know, meaning we're following the laws to the best of our ability. You know, we know the laws are not going to save us, but it shows our faith, you know, and it shows that fear that we have in the Lord, you know what I mean? That fear of the Lord. You know, the scriptures say the fear of the Lord is his treasure. I mean, hey, when we show that fear of the Lord, you know what I'm saying, that pleases the Lord. And that stores up treasures. We're storing up our treasures in heaven. You know, these other people, their fear is in Babylon the Great. They fear Esau, they fear this government, and they fear society, what society is going to think of them, and stuff like that. And so they move accordingly. Well, we move according to our fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Because we know what they can do to us. You know what I'm saying? We know what the Lord can do to us. We also know what the Lord can do for us. You know, and so we choose to move with fear, and that fear brings patience. That fear brings, and it shows our faith. You know, and so we continue to move accordingly. You know, it's no, there's always that saying, is why is it the good people, you know, that suffer? And this is the reason why. Because we who are serving the Lord is putting us through that fire right now, so that when the hour of temptation and Jacob's trouble is here, when that time is here, we know how to solely depend on Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai to bring us out of these situations. You know, we go through situations, you know, and we sit here and we thinking like, we know that there is no way out. You know, you can't call Lisa for help. You can't call your best friend. You can't call nobody in your family. You know, sometimes you can't even call one of the brothers, you know what I'm saying, because everybody has their own situations they're going through. We're being put in situations right now, but we have to solely depend on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And then when that help comes, we know where it came from. It came from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, and we see the Lord putting us through situations and the Lord bringing us out of these situations, and that builds our faith. You know, we learn, you know, to endure. Okay, as the scripture says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. We learn to endure these troubles and these situations by staying patient, you know, constantly praying, you know, and believing that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai will bring us out of these situations. Okay? And then when he does that, I mean, yes, that's a faith booster. You know what I'm saying? So see, in these days of trouble, you know, when Jacob's trouble is actually here, you know what I'm saying, fourfold, because it's already started. You know what I'm saying? We're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble, the beginning stages of our temptation. And just so you know that our temptation is basically them presenting that MOTB, you know, in Revelation 13 and 16. Because ultimately they want everybody to take that seat here, you know. And so, and this here, they're just setting the stage, you know. The stage is set. They just need the right false flag, you know, false flag event, you know. You just set it off to set things in place and get the ball rolling, and then it's just gonna be on and popping, you know. And we gotta be ready. They ain't gonna let us know when they're gonna do it. We gotta be on point to when it happens. We're not surprised about it, and when it happens, we know to constantly endure it. Okay, you know, he gonna do this, he wanna do that, because ultimately they gonna take. You're gonna get ready to lose everything. That's why the hopeful elect right now, we're already in the spirit of losing and taking loss, you know, where other people are not. But we're used to taking loss, so we getting a taste of how to live without certain things, certain pleasures, you know, certain necessities, you know. And so when we're in these situations, you know, this Jacob's trouble, he said, a time like never before seen on earth, nor will ever be. You know, roughly paraphrasing, you know, and it's Jeremiah chapter 30, I believe. But I mean, a time like never before, nor will ever be. You know, meaning, I mean, hey, it's gonna be serious. Imagine no lights, no water, no food, no transportation, no communication, no nothing. You know, you're gonna have to solely depend on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And in these days, we right now, us going through what we're going through, we're learning to solely depend on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai through patience, you know, and through faith. You know, when we're going through these trials and tribulations, we learn to stay patient. We learn to stay patient. We learn to stay prayed up. You know, we still walk that straight and narrow path. We still try to do the right thing while we're going through these troubles. And we still, like I said, pray. And we believe that, hey, whatever it is, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to bring us out of that situation. And when he does, hey, once again, that's faith boosting, you know. And so when it says to set thy heart aright and constantly endure, I mean, that means because you come to serve the Lord, you're going to have to be going through situation after situation after situation. It's not going to be a cakewalk here. You know what I'm saying? But see, understand that reward is that when Jacob's trouble is here, when that time of trouble and hour of temptation is here, you know, you can bear it more. You'll be able to bear it more than a lot of other people will be, because those that's not of the elect or the hopeful elect, you know, those that don't have that covering of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that don't know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to know who to call on. You know, they don't have a relationship with their true power. You know, we've been building a relationship, you know, with our true power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. showing our faith and learning to trust in our true power instead of trusting in ourselves and trusting in man, and trusting in technology or what have you. We learn to solely depend on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and it's getting us through the situations that we're going through. So we have to constantly endure. Okay, constantly endure. And the scriptures say that with the temptation, he'll basically lighten it up for you. It won't be as bad for you as it's gonna be for a lot of others. You're storing up your treasures in heaven. You got that spiritual bank account that you'll be able to spiritually draw out of, during the time of troubles, man. So reading this again before I go in here to the plantation, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take that crown. Hold fast which thou hast, keep your faith. Hold on to your faith, hold on to this truth, the words of comfort that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is giving us in these days. Okay, but I just wanted to get that out there. Hopefully you brothers and sisters were edified. Until next time, Shalom.